Oh, you know,
Call to order the Chicago Common Council meeting will now come to order on Wednesday, April 10th, 2024. Please rise for the pledge of allegiance. Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, to the republic which stands one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Clerk Medina, roll call, please.
First District Councilwoman, Monica Gonzalez.
here,
Third District Councilman, Terrence Hill. Here. Fourth District Councilwoman, Stacy Winfield.
present,
Fifth District Councilman, Robert Garcia. Present. Sixth District Councilwoman, Gilda Oren. Councilman at Large, Dwayne Ransford.
Present.
Councilwoman at Large, Vanessa Hernandez Oren.
present,
Councilman at Large, Kenneth Monroe. Present. Council President Lenny Francisci.
Present. Can I have a motion to accept the minutes for the regular scheduled meeting on Wednesday, March 27th, 2024?
Second.
I'm sorry, who the first, Mr. Hill? Motion was made by Councilman Hill, seconded by Councilman Garcia. Do I have any questions on the motion? Clerk Medina, roll call, please.
Gonzalez.
abstain,
Hill.
Here.
Yes. Winfield.
yes,
Garcia.
Yes.
Orange.
yes,
Ransford.
Yes.
Hernandez. Orange.
yes,
Monroe. Abstain. Francisco.
Yes. Do we have any communications from the mayor?
I have none.
Any communications from department heads?
We have accounts payable warrants. 041024 CC. 041024 LA. And 032224 CC.
second,
Motion was made by Councilman Hill, seconded by Councilwoman Orange to accept the accounts payable warrants. Have any questions on the motion? Clerk Medina, roll call, please.
Gonzalez.
yes,
Hill.
Yes.
Winfield.
yes,
Garcia.
No.
Orange.
yes,
Ransford.
Yes.
Hernandez. Orange.
yes,
Monroe. Yes. Francisco.
Yes.
Payroll warrants biweekly, 031524, 032824, and payroll warrant monthly, 040124.
So. Second, Mr. President.
Motion was made by Councilman Monroe, seconded by Councilman Garcia to accept the payroll warrants. Do I have any questions on the motion? Councilwoman Orange?
bad,
Can you come up to the podium, please?
what's the difference between the payroll bi-weekly and this payroll?
No, payroll is out of HR. So that'd be a question Rob Johnson can find answer. It might be where they divide the payments. I think Rob Johnson does payments for pensioners. That might be the division We haven't had payroll in the controller's office for several years. Thank you.
Thank you. Roll call, please.
Gonzalez,
Yes.
Hill,
Yes.
Winfield,
Yes.
Garcia,
Yes.
Orange,
Yes.
Francis,
Yes.
Hernandez, Orange,
Yes.
Monroe,
Yes.
Franciski.
Yes. Do we have any committee reports? Councilwoman Gonzalez?
The Public Safety Committee, talked about the interlocal agreement between the county and the city of Chicago. If you look, towards the ordinances, there's two ordinances. And basically, we're establishing funds, two different funds, so that once we get the monies from Lake County, they will be distributed within those funds.
Thank you. Moving on to board reports. Do we have any board reports? Clerk Medina, any ordinances on first reading?
We have 5 ordinances first reading. First ordinance, ordinance 24-0003, sponsored Councilwoman Monica Gonzalez. An ordinance creating and establishing municipal public health service fund.
Move first and second reading, Mr. President.
Motion was made by Councilman Garcia, seconded by Councilman Hill, to hear ordinance 24-0003 on second reading. Have any questions on the motion? Councilwoman Orange?
Is anybody?
Yeah. Council,
Name and rank, please.
what's that?
Name and rank.
Nick Snow, attorney for Chicago Health Department.
So, Nick, can you explain to, how this and pieces can you explain this?
Yes, so the committee, matter that was just mentioned by Councilwoman Gonzalez, along with this ordinance and the next one are all part of a program that's being undertaken by the Indiana Health and the state legislature. It's called the Health First Indiana Program. It is a substantial grant of funds to the health department, but the enabling statutes have a lot of oversight requirements. The money is dedicated for performance of certain core public health services that are listed in the statute. And then there are what the state calls key performance indicators or KPIs that the health department is required to monitor and keep track of in order to ensure that they'll continue to receive these grants in the future for as long as the legislature allows them to remain out there. So one of the requirements of the statute is that the council, the city council and the county council enter into an interlocal agreement for disbursement of the funds. So that was the matter that Councilwoman Gonzalez mentioned. And I can report to you that the version that you should have in front of you or that was submitted for your review is a version that contains our revisions. And I've received an email from Attorney O'Donnell on behalf of the county council stating that they are they're in agreement with our changes. They don't have any issues with it. I don't know whether they've taken any action to approve it yet or whether they're waiting on something from this end. As for this ordinance, to create and establish a municipal public health services fund, the idea with this is mostly for accounting purposes. My reading of the statute tells me that I think it's helpful for the city to have a fund that's dedicated to receiving this particular grant money and kind of accounting from it separately than what's used for the health department generally, just because, again, these funds have strings attached that they have to be used for dedicated purposes. And so I think it would just be easier, probably on the controller's office. I know Val and I have had a couple discussions about this. I think it would be easier just in general bookkeeping sense to be able to identify the funds and probably easier to generate a single report to the state at the end of the year showing that we didn't commingle anything and that we only use the funds for the purposes that are specified. So that's what this ordinance is.
Councilman Garcia.
Since this is a grant, we don't need to have a public hearing, correct?
I would defer to the opinion of your council on that.
Councilwoman Gonzalez.
I just wanna, let everybody know that I know, Councilwoman Hernandez Orange did have a question on whether it was gonna go, any funding would go to our, shelter, and it does not. This does not include funds for our shelter, so it's good that you do keep that money separate so that we know that those funds are specifically for what they're itemizing, or the state itemized for.
Councilwoman Hernandez Orange.
In the committee meeting, I'm assuming Ms. Burns was in the committee meeting?
No, I had spoke to Ms. Burns probably about a month ago. Asking her, about all the changes or the necessary, and in turn, she spoke to, Attorney Snow, and then I was getting information also from, our attorney.
With that being said, I know, when she came to me, I just wanted to make sure, and she was gonna ask, all these monies and all these funds, they know exactly where it's going to, one, two. My question to you, to her now would be, if it's not used, what happens then?
Didn't you budget for
That's
this
it.
now? This was budgeted for, right, already?
This,
No, we're gonna have to come up to the voting booth to try and move forward.
Can I ask you real quick?
I was gonna say, I can speak to
I
that
would,
as well.
because what happens when I spoke to Diana, she, gave me an outline of exactly where the funds were going, and I know we had a conversation about the animal shelter, which that it does not include anything with the animal shelter, but, health services for individuals. Go ahead, Dom, I'm sorry.
just from the control side, we became aware of this program back in, I think, September, October last year. We received correspondence from the state of Indiana. We actually saw the budget. They already had a budget of approved by the state health department for every county, for every penny of it. I don't know if you had that before you or not. They did tell us which fund they used. They actually gave us a fund, but I kind of agree with Nick. We go either way. We use the fund we have already, like state mentioned, or we could, we could go either way. And even with the fund we have now, we can make categories. But to us, we did have discussion with other,
Councilwoman, does that answer your question?
I mean, yes, but then, so my question is, you know how the budget, when we end up, we know in the future, we could solidify those funds now, and if we're using them afterwards, can that be done with the grants also, with this grant specifically?
but this one's different. I don't know if everybody's aware. When we first got the paper, they would say you have to pass the interlocal agreement first, then they would send us the money. Well, we've had the money for like 5 weeks already. Matter of fact, state board accounts need this to account for, it. We need to pay for it. My understanding was that we would have to pass the interlocal first, and then the ordinance. I don't know if that's the way you read it. All the paperwork from the county that we were getting back then. So after a while, we stopped receiving it. I think Diane's been more involved with it. But once we received the money, then we have it in the account. We're just waiting for the interlocal to be passed. I came to one meeting where the county said, Attorney O'Donnell said he saw some errors and they're going to correct them. So that's, I think that was about 1 minute, and I hadn't heard anything, so.
Okay, is there any other questions for Val?
I can speak a
Yeah,
little more to
I got it.
Councilwoman Hernandez first. Sorry, Heber.
No, yep.
I understand. So just to kind of go back sequentially, the statute does provide a specified list of purposes, and they are generally geared towards, I guess what I would say is core, human health services type of thing. So, I think what they're trying to do, excuse me, is make sure that everybody in the state has access to a certain set of basic healthcare services. And I think that would eliminate anything to do with the animal shelter or anything like that from consideration for these funds. As far as receiving the funds, the money actually, the statute, again, it's a little bit, I think, of an indication of the perspective that they have downstate, but the money is allocated on a county by county level. So our disbursement for the city health department actually has to flow through the county, which is the reason why we need to have the MOU in place. Our disbursement comes from the county. When Attorney O'Donnell was here last, I believe that there were some issues within the auditor's office that was preventing the money from being sent prior to that. But I think that he had told me at that time that they had fixed those issues and he expected the money to come in quickly. So it has been sitting. In terms of what happens if we don't spend it, I did hear that question too. And I think the answer on that is a little bit unknown. The statute clearly specifies that the fund that's created to receive the grant money cannot revert to the general fund in any way if it's not spent. It does not provide really any guidance that I could find on what happens if we don't spend it all. And in a conversation with an attorney for the State Department of Health, I was advised, she kind of said, I think that maybe if you don't spend all your money out of your budget by the end of this year, then you might have your allocation reduced by next year until you can spend the previous year down. But she didn't really have a clear answer either. And the last part of it, I think, is that the health department did have to submit a budget that's dollar for dollar as to how they're going to use these funds. And I believe that's already been approved by the state. So I think it's really just a matter of getting a fund here and getting the money into it so that they can start using it. And there is some, obviously some time pressure to spend it down.
All right, thank you. Any other questions for Attorney Snow? Councilwoman
Councilwoman Gonzalez, you said that Diana had given you a list of the things that you're gonna spend the money.
Yes,
Can you send that to us?
yes.
Thank you, Attorney.
Thank you.
Clerk Medina, roll call, please.
Gonzalez,
Yes.
Hill,
Yes.
Winfield,
Yes.
Garcia,
Yes.
Orange,
Yes.
Ransford,
Yes.
Hernandez, Orange,
Yes.
Monroe,
Yes.
Franciski.
Yes.
President, motion has been.
Second. Motion was made by Councilman Garcia, seconded by Councilman Monroe, to suspend the rules on ordinance 24-0004. Clerk Medina, roll call, please.
Gonzalez,
Yes.
Hill,
Yes.
Winfield,
Yes.
Garcia,
Yes.
Orange,
Yes.
Ransford,
Yes.
Hernandez, Orange,
Yes.
Monroe,
Yes.
Franciski.
Yes.
So moved.
Motion was made by Councilman Garcia, seconded by Councilman Hill, here ordinance 24-0004 on third and final reading. There's no questions. Clerk, roll call, please.
Gonzalez,
Yes.
Hill,
Yes.
Winfield,
Yes.
Garcia,
Yes.
Orange,
Yes.
Ransford,
Yes.
Hernandez, Orange,
Yes.
Monroe,
Yes.
Franciski.
Yes.
Next ordinance 24-0004. Appropriations ordinance, Health Department Fund, Municipal Public Health Service.
Move the first, second reading. Second.
Motion was made by Councilman Garcia, seconded by Councilman Monroe. Oh, this is, I'm sorry, here ordinance 24-0004 on second reading. Have any questions on the motion? Clerk Medina, roll call, please.
Gonzalez,
Yes.
Hill,
Yes.
Winfield,
Yes.
Garcia,
Yes.
Orange,
Yes.
Ransford,
Yes.
Hernandez, Orange,
Yes.
Monroe,
Yes.
Franciski.
Yes.
Mr. President, motion to suspend the rules.
Unfortunately, I think this one does need a public hearing. Because it's moving funds. So the first one, which was just creating the fund, I believe this one needs the public hearing.
But we already have it in the house.
So we have the window.
Yes, that's right now.
You want to roll the dice, do a, go ahead.
No, we'll wait, we'll wait.
You rescind the motion?
Yes, always so.
Clerk, next ordinance, please.
Can we circle back, because when Monica did the introduce the interlocal, we didn't vote to approve it. So we need to do that. She just reported on it, so we just need a vote to approve that interlocal.
Okay. We're gonna circle back, and I get a motion to approve the interlocal agreement.
Second.
Motion was made by Councilman Hill, seconded by Councilman Garcia. Do you have any questions on the motion? Clerk Medina, roll call, please.
Gonzalez,
Yes.
Hill,
Yes.
Winfield,
Yes.
Garcia.
Yes.
Orange,
Yes.
Bransford,
Yeah.
Hernandez, Orange,
Yes,
Monroe,
Yes.
Franceschi.
Yes.
President, yeah, one quick question. That don't have to be in the ordinance form?
No,
Clerk Medina, I believe we're on to ordinance 24-0007.
That is correct. Sponsor Mayor Anthony Pope, additional appropriations ordinance for the Controller's Office for increase in monthly fire protection expenses.
So move first and second reading, Mr. President.
Second.
Motion was made by Councilman Garcia, seconded by Councilman Monroe to hear ordinance 24-0007 on second reading. Do I have any questions on the motion? Councilman Garcia.
Explain more. I asked him, maybe we go.
Algoma City Controller. Basically, this is an expense we have every year monthly. We are invoiced by the water department. And it's an expense, just as it says, fire protection expense. Has anything to do with the fire department using the water in the hydrants. And it's based on an estimate where they, basically, when I was fire chief, we submit reports on every fire. And every report would have the size of the hose we used and how long we were there. It also included any time for training, and most of the time we use more water in training. So they give an estimate, and in the past few years, it's always been a steady $48,000 that we pay. They told us last year that the study being done by Baker Tilly is doing a financial study for the water department for their rate. Their bond anticipation notes that it would be increasing. So we didn't proceed to follow through on invoices beginning, I think, in September, because we're waiting for a new rate. When did it come? And then we received the latest invoice, which we have to go back to 5 months, where it went from 48,000, the adjustment was 20,000, where now it's going to be 69,000. So that put us in the bind because our budget was based on 48,000 for this year. So there's going to be a shortfall. We did a little bit of an audit, internal audit, and this amount that we suggested would cover that.
Councilman Garcia.
Yeah, Val, so you come, me 69,000 each month,
Yes.
and that's just what the state said you guys actually, well, proposed and used, correct?
That was formulated by, like I said, the department, the water department, with their rate study schedule that they were coming up with. And Baker Tilly is the one who.
If you use less, are they gonna give that back?
No, I think they just do an average. I don't know. Except, I don't know how, what they were looking at to determine this rate this year. I only know some of it because when I was fire chief, I had to submit some reports too, so they could get an idea on what the monthly rate was gonna be, and I know that's what it's based on. So on this,
So you don't know if we use less, we're not gonna get it back then?
no, that's beyond my department. We usually would make a budget for it, and then when the invoices would, like I said, the past few years, it's been in that range. So we had a budget for it, and when we received the invoice, we actually had to pay 5 months back at this range.
Because, where I see, because I know there's four other increases coming.
I know there's, well, they told us there was phases.
Yeah, well,
So we're anticipating, this one is the majority would be for this year, and I think at the end there'll be phase two.
this is
So,
going to tremendously go up in the next year.
but,
Any
I'm
other
not,
questions
I'm
for
not
Bill?
involved in the study, I'm not involved in.
Any other questions for Bill? Clerk Medina, roll call, please.
Gonzalez,
Yes.
Hill,
Yes.
Winfield,
Yes.
Garcia,
Yes.
Orange,
Yes.
Ratzifer,
Yes.
Hernandez, Orange,
Yes,
Monroe,
Yes.
Francisco.
Yes.
Next ordinance 24-0008, sponsor Mayor Anthony Copeland, additional appropriations ordinance, riverboat for the Department of Parks and Recreation for splash pad construction.
So moving first and second reading, Mr. President.
Second. Motion was made by Councilman Garcia, seconded by Councilman Rancifer to hear ordinance 24-0008 on second reading. Any questions on the motion? Councilman Garcia?
Good afternoon, council, or evening, I guess it would be. My name is Marina Solari. I'm the new park director here for the city of East Chicago. You should have in front of you, a revised, construction of a splash pad that we've been trying to get done here in the city for approximately 2 years now. If you do not have the documents in front of you, I do have them here in case, which are renderings, along with the changes that we made to the splash pad. So if you recall, back about a year ago, my predecessor, Vanessa, who is now, well, 2 predecessors ago, we were trying to get this completed. There was a design that was approved last year with a preliminary budget that was about approximately $2.9 million. When I got into this position, I felt, speaking to the mayor, that I felt like if, you know, we're gonna remove a pool, I think it needs to be a little more comprehensive and kind of fit every age group as we could. And so we added some components that I think accomplished that. We added some tube slides for kind of the teenagers. And then the splash pad itself has more of a playground experience with an ADA also ramp that would allow kids with wheelchairs to be able to get through. And it's not to say that the last splash pad design did not allow that, but this one specifically gives them a little bit more height and variability in terms of the components that they can use. Being that we made those changes, it also comes with an increase in terms of what the budget was previously. And so in this ordinance, we're requesting that 4 million be allocated for this splash pad versus the 2.9 that was allocated previously. But it is a more comprehensive, or at least in my recommendation, a more comprehensive product that we're getting that I think is going to be better suited for the residents here in Chicago.
Any questions? Councilwoman Orange?
Can you get the renderings to the purpose?
I do have, I made copies for everyone in case.
Send them out on the email, right?
Yes. Okay.
Next go, Carter.
Any Councilman Monroe, you need some?
Councilman Monroe?
Are we gonna be charging or making any money off?
There will be a nominal fee, like everything else that we've been kind of introducing, just to kind of recoup some monies for the use, for like maintenance, staff, things like that. So yes.
Councilwoman Orange?
So this is going to be 4 million on top of the 2.9.
This is 4 million for this one splash pad. So the 2.9 was approved, but because it was not appropriated, the money went back to the funding sources. So that's why I'm here again requesting this, in essence, the same money plus an additional 1.1 to get the project done. So the money was not allocated last year at all. So no money was expended, nothing was done. So protocol requires that I come back here to get that, to appropriate now that money again for this project.
And this is for tearing it down, because it hasn't been.
This is for, the budget that we're requesting is for the partial tear down, the construction, demolition, things like that. So it is the full, the idea is that you would get a full functioning splash pad by the time this is over. Well, it just depends, I guess, how fast we kind of move with the motion of things, but we would like to get started this construction season. So hopefully have it done by next, summer. That's the idea.
Councilman Garcia.
Yes, just want to thank you. This is a better design than we had last time. Way better, where we have more kids also, benefiting from, with the teenagers with the slides, and a lot better design that I like. But, one thing.
Well,
Councilman Hill.
Yes, Mr. Mayor. Okay, you said there would be a fee now for each Chicago resident and non-resident to have a different fee.
that is correct. Everything that we've introduced has had that distinction. And these fees will have to get approved by the park board. So it's not something that I can arbitrarily come up with. It's something that would have to go through a board, to get approved.
So that means they will have to show their ID.
That is correct.
They're from Chicago and not from.
Correct.
Thank
No problem.
Councilwoman Hernandez Orange.
Couple things. So I know when this actually was brought back up, when I came to get the money to the 2.9 million with the design that I had, it was asked by the council, what would we do for the teenagers? So this design, I know came from the mayor because I gave him the pictures, of what we needed. So we also actually asked, I talked to Spear because we were gonna do it from the old pool structure. So that's my question. Are you using the old structure or are you guys totally knocking that down? Because I know when we talked to them, there was a concern of the height of the pool, of the structure of the slides. That was the biggest concern. And I know, so I don't know how that's gonna go.
So in order to, we kind of did a little bit of, because I knew that this price was gonna go up in terms of what we were gonna add, but I have a little bit of construction background, so I figured, well, we can do certain things to kind of drop the budget down. And so we did decrease, like there was a lot of lighting features included in this that decreased the price. We are not totally demolishing the pool, so this will be built on top of the pool for the most part. So that also reduces cost. So those are certain things that we did to kind of reduce the initial cost, but then give us, I guess, more bang for our buck at the end of the day.
So again, my question is, are you using the same structure that the slides are on now? or
No,
not?
that is
Okay,
impossible.
so that is going down.
Those are coming.
That was my biggest
Okay.
concern. Same thing with the, everything on the inside of the pool or where the machinery was, that's also,
Or a partial, it will be a partial demolition, because there are some equipment that is salvageable to be used for this, application.
from inside that room.
That is correct.
Oh, you're right, the other part, not the,
So there's the utility room that has the pumps, things like that,
Correct.
so there are certain items that can be used and not have to be completely demoed.
and then when they do the actual, I guess, I know it was told to me that with the fencing that's there, there's new laws or new, I guess, whatever, I don't know what it's called, but the height of where we're gonna do this structure, is it going to be that we're gonna have to bring in a new fence for the height? Do you have to make sure to be above it? How does that work?
From what I understand, no, and, that's actually one of the reasons we kind of stuck with the design, is to salvage the fence and to kind of create compact so that we don't have to remove the fence. But the height is comparable, it's maybe, I think 10 feet taller than what is there now, but does not require any additional, fencing.
And then one question that Councilman Gonzalez did ask is, and I know Spear was concerned with us having all the money up front and for them. Is that what they're asking now, or can we do partial? I know we talked about demo, they could do demo one set, so they could have money for this and then eventually that. how is that for King Spirit, to make sure that they're locked in and set in that spot, because I know they gave, if you didn't have the money, you were gonna be locked in, so how's that gonna work?
As of right now, this budget was brought to us of this year, so it's based on this construction season. If anything is deterred or anything like that, then that could possibly change. They were asked though that in some of these components that they use, local contractors to kind of reduce the cost as best as we can. So again, this is just really a budget, for the final project. They are in charge of, going through the motions, the design, the, finding vendors, things like that, to reduce the cost as much as we can. But, yes, so I hope that answers.
And I think I'll further ask that, but, the last thing is this for 142?
This is for one, and it will be at Washington Park. And then based on what happens, then we'll come back, for any other requests.
Councilwoman Orange?
Yes, remember when they happened to like you, because I mean, the last year when we did this,
Dissertation.
had many questions, so they happen to like you, so I'm sure this is going to pass. I think that, I don't see a lot on here from the ADHD, but maybe you do have any. I just don't know where to look for it.
The ADA ramp is the green ramp that you see kind of goes up and then it kind of meanders around. That's the ADA component. And so again, that's just giving a extra level because the splash pad in general on a cement pad is already ADA compliant. I just felt that there could be more of a added benefit to someone in a wheelchair to kind of experience other components. And they would do that by going through that ramp.
And one of the questions that was asked last year repeatedly, is there going to be somebody there to monitor this splash pad?
There will be an attendant and the system that we're using, it's a tankless system. So therefore, the water will be going into the sewer system. And the reason we have to do that is that it then provides us the ability to not have to have lifeguards. Because anything that has standing water, whether it's a centimeter or an inch, requires lifeguards based on how many people use the splash pad. And so that's been one of the issues in all Northwest Indiana, not just here. And specifically, no one will drown because this water is actually flowing completely. So there will be an attendant and there will be, someone else that's kind of just making sure things are not running, that everything is running smoothly.
So my last question is, in most splash pads, they shut it down for a certain amount of time to make sure that water is clean. Is that what this
This is, that would be the tank system, but we don't have a tank system here. So it will be pretty much like if you're running the tap water at your house, it just runs, it's already clean. So there are a little bit of chemicals that are added to kind of, to add, more protection to the system, but it's not something that's like a pool, for example, where you're adding chlorine and things like that, and it's constantly pumping and cycling through the system. There's no system like that in this project.
Or was actually.
Councilwoman Wenzel?
Yes, I'm looking at the tubing, so you're saying that maybe one or two working, but as we know, teenagers and kids get busy, and one or two is gonna be feasible, because they have to go up to the top level, come down. What are they sliding onto the grass?
It's,
Padding?
it's concrete, it's actually concrete, but prior to that there's a stopper. And so these are designed so that the amount of velocity that you're going, as you're going, as you can see, there's like an extension of the slide that kind of goes maybe 100 feet. That gives you enough time to kind of stop, depending on your weight, obviously, but I mean, it's engineered so that you will stop by the time you get to the stoppers.
Is that padding though, anywhere around this?
There will be padding around the vicinity of that, so that, they're barefoot, so, they be better protected in a more spongier, like, material that they could, not burn their feet, and they can go in and out of the area without having to feel the rough surface of the cement.
That's why I'm concerned with the one or two, maybe four, because if you have first aid kit, something happens, two people are not gonna be able to handle. You have the whole splash pad, plus, I think it's gonna be exciting for everyone. And I know it's gonna be an age limit, but you know, kids get excited and pushed over and just need that first aid.
And the designer will let us know what those numbers are so that we know how many attendants or how many staff we need for this. I mean, this is just me speaking that I know there will be someone attending it, collecting money, and then there will be someone making sure that things aren't going, you know, chaos. If they tell us that it requires 3 people to man this or 4 people, then, you know, we take that to account, you know, when we do our staffing for that year.
Question, and then I know, I'm excited because it's coming to Washington Park in my district first, but I know there was a concern about splash pad being over here, the pool opening at Costi. So it looks like that may not happen the same year. With that pool at Costi opening, because I know otherwise it's gonna be a amount of kids coming to Washington.
Well, I can't answer that right now in terms of like what the plans are for the pool specifically at Costi right now. I know that one right now needs a lot of work. And I think we've discussed that a lot of municipalities are moving away from pools because of cost, maintenance, lifeguard issues, staffing, things like that, chemicals. So, I can't remember what this project is, and I think when we see the success of this, then we'll determine what we do with the other pool.
Councilman Garcia?
Yes, I just want to thank you, your expertise and your background in the degree is valuable in this project, and you're already saving us money. You know, I know there's comments been made, but your expertise and your background brings a lot to this project.
Thank you.
Any other questions for, Parks and Rec? Roll call, please.
Gonzalez,
Yes.
Hill,
Yes.
Winfield,
Absolutely.
Garcia,
Yes.
Orange,
Yes.
Ransford,
Yes.
Hernandez, Orange,
Yes.
Monroe,
Yes.
Francisco.
Yes.
Additional appropriations. We can't suspend the rules on an additional appropriation. But we've got another one we gotta do too. Yeah.
Next ordinance, Mr. Clerk.
Ordinance 24-0009. Sponsor Mayor Anthony Copeland, additional appropriations ordinance, parks, for Department of Parks and Recreation for splash pad construction.
Second.
Motion was made by Councilman Garcia, seconded by Councilman Hill. To hear ordinance 24-0009 on second reading. Have any questions on the motion? Clerk Medina, roll call, please.
Gonzalez,
Yes.
Hill,
Yes.
Winfield,
Yes.
Garcia,
Yes.
Orange,
Yes.
Ransford,
Yes.
Hernandez, Orange,
Yes.
Monroe,
Yes.
Francisco.
Yes. Clerk Medina, do we have any ordinances on second reading?
That concludes ordinances on second and third.
Moving on to resolutions, do we have any?
No resolution.
Moving on to old business, do we have any old business? We're gonna move on to new business. Councilwoman Gonzalez.
Hi, I just wanted to, I see everybody had received an email about the Pine Avenue Bridge collapse on April 15th, 1982. Everybody, received, I guess this poster, and I know a union is looking to have a memorial or something, that memorializes the people that passed away. I would ask that the president, we can put this in committee, to see, what our options are, and get more details, from the city and work with the city to see what we can accomplish.
Or we can either put it in public safety or education. I would say public safety. So, the chairwoman is, Councilwoman Gonzalez. You have Councilwoman Orange and Councilman Monroe. So, I'm sure we have a gentleman in the audience who will speak in a little bit so we can get his contact information. Go committee away. Any other new business? Councilwoman Hernandez on.
I was contacted by the artist who did the 1971 basketball for the All-Star game. They are ready to hand it over to the city of East Chicago, preferably it was to the school city. They're trying to reach out to the school city, they didn't, have anyone reach back. So this basketball is, 7 foot tall and 300 foot wide. With that being said, I'm assuming that they're gonna need some type of help. But they need to have something from the city of Chicago or the school city by the 16th of April. So I would like to see if we could put that into committees so that our education committee could work with the superintendent to see if we can get this done, at least to give some type of feedback or answer, so we can make sure that it comes back home.
Now we have to bring it back from Indianapolis. So
We have to bring it back from Indianapolis. They're not providing that. They're just asking us to pick it up and bring it over.
They want us to pick it up.
Yes,
Do we get to keep it? Cause I thought that it was, oh, we get to keep it.
yes,
Okay.
it's ours.
Yeah, no, I know, I've seen it, it's beautiful.
The only caveat is that we have to go pick it up.
Free if you come and get it.
Councilman Garcia.
Someday.
Like a treadmill?
And brought.
Now, I don't know the whole gist of all that. I just know the email that was sent to me was, this is now April 16th, we need an answer, I need to find about a month or so, contact with somebody from schools. So,
And we put the education committee on it, which is Councilman Monroe is the chair, Stacy Winfield and Councilman Hill. If you could please give the information to Councilman Monroe, so we can get this going. Sure hate to lose that statue. Is there any other new business? Councilman Garcia?
Yeah, later on after the meeting, I'm gonna give Attorney Jones some information, do request that information for me, so I'll give her for that information.
Already, any other new business? We're moving on to public expression. You can please keep your comments to 3 minutes. First one I have is Mr. Thomas Donner.
Good evening, President Council, council members. Really quick, a month to the year, the mayor stood in the driveway looking at the property at 4409 Arbutus Lane. Property's been abandoned 14 years and ongoing. So last year in April, he stood on my driveway, we looked at the house, he pointed and referred me to his building commissioner, Mr. Portland. Mr. Portland came by, took pictures. Again, code enforcement has been out there multiple times looking at this house, it's abandoned. And my discussion with the building commissioner, Mr. Portland, I informed him that the structure is inhabited by squirrels, possums, raccoons, rabbits. And the street is so dark that the coyotes are getting all the protein that they want. Now, the coyotes are moving around with impunity during the daytime. Also during the daytime, adult males are going back to that garage, urinating, defecating, who knows what else. And the house is still abandoned. So when Mr. Portland and I were having discussions, they was picture. I said, 4 questions. What if a federal magistrate issues an injunction, can you demolish it? He goes, no, it's beyond that, it's unsafe, it's collapsing. So I said, okay. What if somebody submits an amicus curiae? He goes, nope, it's not gonna happen. I said, what if the governor issues a state demolition? Nope. I go, here's the most important one. What if it gets sold? Oh, no, we're gonna block the sale because the surety bond's gonna be $40,000. I said, okay, you sound like you know what you're talking about. 3 weeks later, they get the orange neon flyer on the door. It's on there for a couple days, it's gone. The neighbors are ecstatic. I said, it's not gonna get demolished. There's no green sandbag. There's no permanent or temporary fencing or bulldozer. Don't get your hopes up high. So then, from that point, I started calling him. And somebody by the name of Connie, I guess she works in this office, in this building somewhere. She takes my messages. He's either out in the field on vacation, which is a great work-life balance if you can get it, or out to lunch. At the same time, parallel tracks, I'm reaching out to code enforcement. Come to find out, they only work Saturdays and Sundays. How do I know that? Because if I'm standing in my front lawn, they drive by. I says, well, when you guys stop there, they'll drive by, they give you the look. I said, okay, whatever. That house has consumed so many code enforcers, it's beyond belief. So next thing I know, November, by the goodness and graciousness of a code enforcer, they picked up the phone. He goes, hey, they pulled the permit. I said, sir, I don't know what that means. He goes, they got sold. I said, oh, okay. Well, apparently the selling of that property hasn't done anything because the guy is still going back there. But I just thought I'd bring it up. And the street's so dark. Please don't go back there at night. The coyotes will get you. Thank you. Thank you sometime back. I know I went over a little bit, time, but I'll give you guys back.
Next, we have Terry Stegall.
Good evening, everybody. My name is Terry Stegall, and I'm a retired steel worker from Cleveland Cliffs, previously Cleveland Steel. I'm a local 1010 for 41 years. And I guess you could say at Inland Steel, we've seen our fair share of industrial accidents because at our union hall, there's a memorial for 393 people that died in the steel. And those are steel workers, not the construction workers that also died. So I guess I felt that, you know, this Pine Avenue Bridge collapse was one of the most horrific tragedies in Indiana, and 14 people dying in this bridge collapse. And I was just moved to see if we could do something to make sure we memorialize these people the way they should be. It's part of our history, part of our community, and there's also people out there that are still grieving over this matter. Workers, co-workers, friends, family, and I think we need to do what we can to create something that's helpful. So a couple of years ago, I just give you a little background. I did get a hold of Richard Morrisville and talk to him about it. And, he forwarded the information to the mayor's office, and I talked to Sandra Flavia, and we had a couple of discussions. And of course, you know, time goes by. So just trying to get things going in the right direction, get everybody on the same page. And so that's what I'm trying to do now. I guess I felt like one of my first steps, so well, maybe I need to make a poster so that, you know, at least it's a little marketing piece. We can give everybody a visualization of some of the things we're trying to do. So in my conversations with Sandra Flavia, also got, you know, we talked about a site over on, I guess it's Block in Michigan, just west of the, or east of the fire department there on Michigan. And where we could even make a, you know, the big idea, you know, make a worker memorial over there for all the workers that died in Chicago. Whether it be steel workers, construction workers, policemen, firemen, or whatever the case may be. And I thought maybe we could even get, you know, donations from the area corporations and the unions and things like that, and do something nice over there. And it makes a nice gateway to the city. And also, Ms. Bobby introduced me to Terry Belligan over at United Bridge. And I've been working with him also. And like I said, that we kind of fell off the wagon a little bit here as far as our progress. But if you look at the picture on the poster here, he recommended maybe we could even do something. If we can't do the site in the city for everybody, maybe we could do something on one of the pillars there across from his office that's left from the old bridge. Yes, sir. Time? Okay.
Thank you, sir.
Okay.
A motion to adjourn, please.
And second.
Motion was made by Councilman Garcia, seconded by Councilman Hill. Roll call, please.
Gonzalez,
Yes.
Hill,
Yes.
Winfield,
Yes.
Garcia.
Yes.
Orange.
Yes.
Francis.
Yes.
Hernandez on,
Yes.
Monroe,
Yes.
Francisco.
Yes. Meeting adjourned. Good night.
Good night. When you get off,
Did everybody sign the interlocal? I just want to make sure everybody gets signed before.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Everybody.
Nailed it. Nailed it.
For cell phones and internet. So. You're all, you're siren going.
Bring a whole lot. I know, they just have everything.
I know that.
It's a fucking relevant ball. And then.
But y'all open to it.
Yeah, but I don't want to knock about.